I'm going to take part in an experiment where my life is at stake. How do you like this roulette? My name is Sam, and I am 31 years old. I have never been particularly prone to illness. As a child, I was active, often played sports, and my parents were proud of my health. I could not even remember the last time I was sick. But a few years ago, my life changed dramatically. It all started when I began to feel strange pains in my stomach. They were not constant, but as time went on, they became more and more severe. At first, I did not pay much attention to it, but then the pain became so intense that I began to lose consciousness. This happened at night, and I thought that perhaps I just did not get enough sleep or something was wrong with my stomach. I was sure that it would go away on its own. But one day, when I woke up, I felt that I had problems breathing. I could not take a full breath, as if air was not entering my lungs. At that moment, I realized that this was not an ordinary ailment. I went to the doctor, who sent me for a series of examinations. All the tests showed strange results that could not be explained. I had an MRI, ultrasound, blood tests, and more, but all the specialists I went to could not give a precise diagnosis. They said it could be something rare, but they did not know what exactly. I was sent to geneticists, and then I learned the terrible truth. My disease is called Gilbert syndrome. It is an extremely rare genetic disorder that makes it difficult for the body to process bilirubin. It causes the slow destruction of liver cells and disrupts the normal functioning of the immune system. Moreover, the disease affects not only the organs, but also the muscles and nervous system. Symptoms begin to appear between the ages of 25 and 35, and often the disease goes unnoticed until it begins in the late stages, as in my case. The symptoms of this syndrome can vary, but they are all accompanied by severe pain and sudden attacks of weakness. One of the first symptoms I had was constant fatigue, which didn't go away even after a good rest. I thought I was just overworking myself at work, but then I started having sharp pains in my right side and a loss of appetite. Then my body started reacting to this disease in a strange way. I noticed that my heart was beating in an unusual rhythm. Sometimes its beats felt like hammer blows, and it was not only physically painful, but also emotionally overwhelming. I began to lose control over my body, my muscles became weaker, and my movements became slower. It seemed that I was becoming someone else, alien to myself. Sometimes I couldn't get out of bed because my leg muscles simply wouldn't obey. All this was accompanied by severe headaches and anxiety attacks. It seemed that my entire nervous system was going crazy. My hands were shaking, I couldn't concentrate on simple things, and my nightmares were becoming more vivid and real. At some point, I even began to forget what I had done a couple of minutes ago. Doctors couldn't believe for a long time that the disease could progress so quickly. Usually, patients with Gilbert's syndrome live a normal life without facing such difficulties. But I was a rare case when the disease progressed very quickly, destroying organs and systems. My liver was already damaged, and doctors said that if the condition did not improve, I would have to resort to a transplant. As the disease progressed, I lost more and more physical strength. I could not work. I could not lead a normal life. Constant pain and weakness did not leave me a moment of peace. But what was worst of all was that I could not share my pain with others. My friends and family did not understand what was happening. They thought that I was just tired, or that I needed more rest. No one believed that I was really seriously ill. My relatives even suggested that I stop dwelling on the disease and everything will be fine. I realized that the disease had changed not only my body, but also my life. I stopped going to work. I couldn't communicate with my friends because I didn't know how to explain what was happening to me. I started looking for answers on forums and the internet, talking to people who suffered from the same rare diseases. It was the only place where I was understood. But even there, I felt alone. The disease is so rare that support was limited. At some point, I began to lose faith in recovery. The medications I was prescribed did not help. I tried several treatments, from hormone therapy to experimental drugs, but nothing worked. My body continued to deteriorate, and with each passing day, I felt more and more like a part of my disease. I tried to find light at the end of the tunnel, but eventually I realized that my life might not last long. The doctor's prognosis was not encouraging. Most people with my disease die from its complications before the age of 40. I did not know what to do, but I knew one thing: I could not just give up. I continued to fight, despite my fatigue and pain. Every day was a fight, for life, for my humanity. A month ago, I was sitting in my apartment, again clutching a cup of cold tea in my hands, thinking about how hard it was for me. Each day passed as if in a fog: pain, weakness, apathy. I began to lose all hope for improvement. Every morning when I woke up, I knew that I had another day of fighting with my body. I had almost resigned myself to living with this for the rest of my life. But everything changed the day I got a call from Johns Hopkins University Medical Center. I will never forget that call. I had just woken up, feeling as empty as always, and suddenly the phone rang. A strange, unfamiliar number appeared on the screen, and I barely had time to answer, thinking that it was another promotional call or a check from the bank. "Hello, Samuel? We are from Johns Hopkins Medicine. I'm Dr. Scott Morgan. We study rare genetic diseases like yours, and we have a program for treating Gilbert syndrome that is currently in clinical trials." I couldn't even believe my ears at first. Thoughts of a miracle flashed through my mind. A cure? A program? It was almost impossible to imagine. I thought that scientists simply couldn't be this close to solving the problem I'd lived with for so long. The doctor continued, "We'd like to offer you the opportunity to participate in experimental tests. We're developing a new drug that we believe can significantly slow down the progression of the disease and possibly stop it from progressing. We've already tested it successfully on animals, and now we want to test it on people. It's a completely new form of treatment, but like any experimental drug, there are risks." Risks. I knew immediately what he was talking about. I'd encountered this before when I was researching treatment options. Drugs that promised miracles often brought only disappointment. But this was different. This was a chance I couldn't pass up. "I understand," I said, excitement in my voice. "But what if something goes wrong? It's only in the testing stage. You can't guarantee that it will be safe." Dr. Morgan responded with obvious sympathy. "That's true. We cannot guarantee safety, but if you agree, we will monitor your condition around the clock. In case of serious side effects, we will immediately stop the treatment. We already work with dozens of people suffering from diseases similar to yours, and on average, most of them tolerate the treatment without serious complications. But we must warn you about possible risks. This is your decision, and we fully respect it." The words safety and risks echoed in my head again. This was a real test. My life was already at risk, and this experiment could be the last chance or the final catastrophe. So literally, I am playing roulette by rules that have not yet been invented. And what would you do in my place? I thought about how scary it would be to be left without a chance. I thought about what it would be like if I just continued my life in the same painful rhythm without changes. My disease was already taking everything from me: strength, work, relationships, faith in myself. And I decided that this might be my chance. I hesitated for a long time. A month ago, after the first call, I sat in the dark, wondering what to do. I researched, read reviews from people who had participated in other clinical trials. I heard about the side effects, how some drugs actually worked while others were just bad. But eventually, I realized, if I don't try, I'll never know what could have happened. And if I die from the disease, at least I'll know that I tried. Yesterday, after much thought and many conversations with my family, I made a decision. I gave my consent. I remember waking up this morning feeling a strange mixture of fear and hope. Fear that something terrible and uncertain might lie ahead. Hope that this experiment would change my life. I still don't know what will happen, but I couldn't pass up this chance. This may be my last chance at a normal life, and I wasn't going to sit back and worry about failure. I will take part in the tests. It will be long, hard, and possibly dangerous, but I hope that this path will lead me to salvation. I am ready to fight. I wrote my name on this list, signing the document that was given to me for participation, and now everything depends on me, on my body, and on how strong I will be to go through this experiment and become one of those who have overcome their disease. I started writing this post just to share my story, to speak out. But now, I want to ask you to wish me luck. It seems that this is the only thing that can help me.